This is a good question. Is Sam stinky? So guys, you guys might have seen my last video with Dane where he taught me how to tattoo. So I'm officially a, what do you call it? An apprentice artist now?
Apprentice, yeah. You're a tattoo
I'm a
apprentice.
tattoo artist now.
Hey.
Beautiful. And I asked you guys for some of your questions just about like the tattoo industry in general and how you could maybe get into this line of work, some of the insights and industry secrets here, because we've got an insider, the best tattoo artist in all of Toronto. So I'm going to go through some of those questions today. It's going to be a longer form video. You can put this on in the background while you draw or something and listen to our calming voices. All right? This will be a podcast episode. Maybe I should put this on Spotify.
Yeah, on Spotify next.
First question we got here. What can someone study to become a tattoo artist? Do they even need to study? Like, what's the process there?
So you technically don't need to study, but it benefits you if you do have some sort of art background. I know a lot of artists from different avenues. You know, they were scientists and doctors and things like that, and it's totally not related. I mean, maybe if you're a surgeon, that could help. But
Steady hands.
But you don't have to be a surgeon to be a tattoo artist. But if you went into art school, design school, just anything that can help you understand the fundamentals of art, it will come in handy at some point. You might not see it first, but you will during your journey.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking too. Like, there's not necessarily a tattooing bachelor's or degree or anything like that.
No.
But it's like these other skills that you might have could translate into studying for this line of work.
Yes. There are a couple of schools in Toronto that have started a tattoo program. Really? It's a smaller tattoo course. Okay. I don't know if the credentials you get in there are going to merit you for anything on paper.
Yeah.
It's not some sort of tattoo degree, but it is the experience that will help you. But I will say that even if you get that hands-on experience, it's still quite imperative that you tattoo in a shop and learn how to tattoo with that shop, as opposed to just thinking, cool, I have the chops, I'll start tattooing now. It doesn't always work that way.
It's all about like actual experience in the actual setting that you're working.
Exactly.
Do you regret any of your tattoos? Why?
So yes I do.
Oh no.
I do regret one of my tattoos. It's a tattoo that it wasn't necessarily a bad tattoo. It was more so the experience, and then in the end, the quality of that tattoo. I remember the tattoo artist just, I went there quite innocently, thinking that I have to bring a piece of work to the artist and they might want to tattoo it or not.
Yeah.
And before I could say anything, she just told me it was stupid and dumb. And here's the kicker. I thought that was fine because I'm like, cool, this is how tattoo artists are supposed to be. They're a bit edgy and you have to earn their time.
Oh, that's so
That is
rude.
not. That's
so
not the case, okay? If someone tells you your work is stupid or dumb, you probably don't want to work with them.
That's a bad vibe.
It's fine if they're honest. It's fine if they're honest, but there's a nice, you don't have to sugarcoat, but there's a nicer way to say that. If they're gonna, just be so closed-minded and just insult you that way and kind of dictate how you should move about your session or what you want to get, it's probably not the best person to work with. There should be a flag raised there.
That's a red flag.
That's kind of what happened, and in the future, that tattoo didn't really resonate with me. I was kind of made fun of it for it when I was in art school.
Oh.
And the funny part is I didn't know how bad it was. I just was so stoked to get that tattoo that in the future, it just, was the back of my mind.
Okay.
I was like, oh, it's a tattoo. Like, how good could it be?
Yeah.
And then, I was really embarrassed about having it. By the time I was in the industry, I was like, oh, I got to get this off my body.
Does it hurt a lot on a scale of 1 to 10? I guess this depends on the part of your body, right?
This does. The answer is yes and no. And the answers are 1 and 10. So
1 and 10.
Yeah.
Depends on where you're tattooing. Okay, so I got a lot of people who asked what's like the least painful area to tattoo and what's like the most painful.
Okay.
I feel like I know what the most painful is.
Yeah.
What's the least painful?
The least painful, this is just my observation. I would say it's the outer upper arm. So this area is quite a safe zone. Don't come for me. I know some people might find it like the most painful thing ever, but on average, a lot of people get this as their first spot, and big or small, it's quite manageable.
Yeah, so like upper arm around the shoulder area.
Yeah, from this part of the shoulder down, not on the point of the shoulder, because that can be a little spicy.
Right.
Usually it's the bony areas or the pockets where there are a lot of nerves.
Yeah.
So those are the spicy ones.
Wait till you guys get to like this intersection here.
Yeah.
I remember when this tattoo got to here, I was like, what is going on?
Why?
I've never felt this pain.
He was reborn.
That was like a solid, I would say, 7.
7.
Yeah,
It's-
but then like on the outside, it's a like a 4.
I think so too. I think so too.
And it just feels like a bug constantly like stinging you, but not in like an unbearable way. Like it is painful, but it's almost once you get used to the feeling, you kind of go numb to it.
Right. It's kind of raw. It's raw.
Yeah. So this one says, us as digital or traditional artists, we have a way of erasing our mistakes. So what do you do when you make a mistake?
Just pray to the gods. Just hope it goes away. Just close my eyes and pretend. I've cried a lot. That's at night when I sleep. No, I'm just joking. So here's an interesting thing. When you make a mistake, there's really not much you can do but try to enhance that area. If you know you want to, if a line was closer in and you went a little further out, if you have to push it in or add shading to it or something to disguise it, where it looks like it's part of the piece, that's what you have to do. I think this is the reason why apprenticeships take so long and junior phases take so long. At least if you have the privilege of going through it properly, you don't actually end up making those crazy mistakes. Everybody thinks it's one of those mistakes where like, you know, you fully
just
draw. Yeah, or like you draw something different or you tattoo something differently. The jaw is like unhinged or the anatomy is not correct.
No cranium.
Yeah. It doesn't actually happen. It's not common. I mean, there are other cases where someone spells the word different wrong or regret, you know,
Yikes.
like, yeah, this is why you always sign those consent forms, right? No one wants a lawsuit. No, I don't think those mistakes actually happen with people who have the knowledge and have devoted the time to the craft. And if you do, you're able to disguise certain things just based on your knowledge of art, right? I did see one really cool technical thing that someone showed me once where the client's skin was paper thin and I tattooed a little too deep and it created this ink vein. It almost looks like your veins, very, very thin. And what he did in that second was mind-blowing to me because he quickly had a pair of gloves. He took a paper towel and he's like, let me show you something. And exactly where that ink vein started, he took it and pushed it the opposite way and it disappeared.
Wow.
Because the ink is living in your skin, right? It's not frozen. So he was able to push it back and it was gone.
Wow, that's crazy.
This doesn't always happen. It was in a very specific case where the ink spread was quite light. It wasn't a full blowout. It was just a vein, like a trail, and when you wipe it, it's gone.
That's crazy. That's like
It blew my mind.
Wow.
Because when I pulled that line, I was like, oh no, what have I done? And
my God.
He just got it out of there.
That's like an undo button. For you
Yeah,
guys.
he did. Double tap that.
So I guess it's more about like it's less about I think in digital art it's like you just undo it, pretend it never happened. But when you're doing a tattoo, it's more like just work with what you did.
You adapt.
You adapt to it.
Always.
You kind of just work on the spot,
Yeah,
improvise.
If you make a mistake, it's okay. This is one of the hardest, most difficult mediums ever.
Yeah.
Right? You're trying to focus on so many different things. And yes, you don't want to make a mistake and you're not supposed to. But if you do, you
Improvise.
Okay, yeah, improvise. You've made the mistake. What do you do now?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, you can't erase it. Right.
Because so many people ask this question, and it's like, I guess I would be curious about it too, but I guess like if there's no way to erase it, you just got to work with what you've got.
If you cause some damage and you need to damage control where you cannot do this, because obviously I'm talking in an instance where it's a small mistake, you know, you nick your client or someone sneezes and you're like, whoops, now you have a face tattoo. But like if it's something small and you change that, but if it's a big problem like an infection or something else where you've completely tattooed the wrong word or several wrong words, the only thing you can do in the service is you can't return the tattoo, but you know maybe you don't charge the client. Maybe if it's a shop that's willing to work with laser removal or a free cover up. I've seen this happen before where mistakes have happened and you know maybe they tattoo the wrong Roman numeral.
Oh my God.
And
that's like if you really, really mess up.
But that's like being absent-minded, right?
Yeah.
This is why you double check. I had someone spell their wife's name wrong.
Oh my.
So when I do script, I'm anal, and I get people to check it 3 times. They're like, why are you asking me for the 3rd time? I know. I'm like, yeah, but I've experienced the other side of things, so.
That's yeah. If I ever become a tattoo artist, I will never do script. I guess that's the. Okay, so what do you find most difficult about being a tattoo artist?
Ooh, that is a very good question. Nothing. No, it's me.
you?
It's me. It's me when I'm toxic. With my own thoughts, my head, my imposter syndrome, my competitiveness, everything. I want to do everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
I want to win, but then I want to be lazy. I want to do it all, and sometimes it's just too much.
Yep.
I have to tell myself that it's going to be all right.
Yep.
And it's okay to pat myself on the back sometimes and, just chill out. But the most difficult thing about tattooing, specifically this industry, is, sometimes my attitude and my toxic thoughts on myself, on others, just, if I'm being completely honest, yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, that's super relatable because I feel the exact same way about myself. It's just like sometimes I get up and I'm like, I don't want to shoot a video today, but I have to do it. And I'm just like, why am I having that thought? And then you start going down this spiral. You're like, why are you thinking you don't want to shoot this video? Why are you thinking you don't want to do this painting? Why are you thinking you don't want to draw this hand? You know, it's just like
you are the problem.
And then you start, you are the problem to yourself, and you just go down and into a downward spiral and just gets worse and worse, right?
And people talk about things like their platforms, right? Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and there's a lot of people who see it in a really toxic mindset where like, this is horrible, but that's because you're constantly comparing yourself.
Yeah.
What if you don't see it that way and just, you're essentially proud of everybody else or use it as motivation?
Yeah.
Like, wow, my workmate did this amazing tattoo. I want to do something that cool.
It's hard. It's hard to be that way, right? Because like sometimes you see maybe someone rips off your work and you're like, who is this guy?
Yeah,
and you're like, I'm gonna destroy you. You always have that thought.
Or the toxic nature of the algorithm where you're like, oh, I did a dragon. Why is my dragon not doing as well as this?
Right.
It's only natural to compare and compete.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone watching the video, like everyone deals with that nowadays, right? Like it doesn't matter what kind of art you do. Could be tattooing, could be like traditional, digital. Like everybody's experiencing that now. Where like you just compare yourself online to other people all the time.
Yes.
It's like it's just like the spark for like bad thoughts about your own work.
Exactly. It doesn't stop at tattooing. It's the same.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I guess our own worst enemies are ourselves. Someone asked, does it make good money? I think that depends, right?
It does depend. I don't want to be corny and say you make as much as you put into it, but it is true, all those nights that I was exhausted and I told myself, you know what, we're going to eat, we're going to go to the gym, come back and draw until 4 a.m. It's not always like that, but the times that it has been, it's been rewarding and it's got me here. When I was an apprentice, I was told that I was so bad that I had to work double the time than my other apprentice friends. I was told I was too old because I was 26, 27 and they were crazy. 20 or 21. And my mentor at that time told me, you don't devote enough time. And I'm here thinking, I do. He's like, yeah, what else do you do? I'm like, I hang out with my friends, I have a band, I play music, and I go to the gym. He's like, yeah, I suggest you quit band, don't hang out with your friends, and maybe don't go to the gym as much, and focus all your time on tattooing.
Oh, Lord.
And I remember thinking, wow, you're a jerk. Like, who are you to tell me how to do that?
Yeah.
But for about a year, 6 days a week, I practiced, and it definitely changed because when I look back at the work and the grind, it wasn't always the healthiest thing, but that effort really changed things because when I look back, I can safely say he wasn't wrong. I did really need to improve, and if he didn't kick my butt, I don't think I would have done it.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of how you got to start out in almost like every pursuit, right? Like you got to really just go into it, screw like the work-life balance. Screw like anything else. I feel like I was the same way when I first started like YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I think once you do get to where you want to be and you can, make a living from it and you're a little bit more happy with yourself, I guess, you can kind of like start to work on that balance, right? But when you're first starting out, you got to climb.
You do.
And that's why you're working so much harder.
Right. And you humble yourself. And I remember thinking to myself, like, at first, well, that's ridiculous. I don't want to stop playing music. I love this. I should be doing it. But then I was reminded of how much I wanted a tattoo. I reminded myself how much it took to get into this shop.
Yeah.
And how much I want to stay here.
Right.
And I wanted to be some of the people I idolized. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. What's holding me back, right?
Right. Do you have any tips for a 17-year-old artist trying to start tattooing?
Okay.
It's like a little kid wants to tattoo.
Okay, a little kid that wants a tattoo. Don't. No,
That's
joking.
it.
I'm
Cut.
just joking. I'm kidding.
End the video.
Don't do it. Don't start don't start that monster. No. I I would I would honestly set aside what your goals are, right? If you want to be a professional tattoo artist and you already know that, then I would analyze what it is that you need. I sometimes wish that I knew, so I could have done the things I wanted to much faster. I think time is probably your best friend. If you're 17, mate, like, go for it. Go, like, work on that portfolio, and as soon as you can, get into a tattoo shop. Like, try to apply for one, or at least source out artists in your area that, you know, you really like or you want to learn from. Maybe you've gotten tattooed by them a couple of times. Try to get there and start the ball rolling. That's the best advice I can give you. And if you do need some art background, some fine-tuning, tutorials, lessons at all, maybe look into it if it's possible. Maybe if you decided, if this is something you're trying out that's a little different, I would just say, you know, be strong and focus on that. But if it's, you know, you're serious about it, that this is a career you really want to pursue, I would start there. Maybe just with the portfolio. Yeah.
On the topic of the portfolio, what are like good pieces to put into a portfolio? Like what kind of pieces do we do? Like sketches, colored, what?
So, from my experience, I see a lot of people creating a portfolio of tattoo designs, like they're tattooing tattoo designs. And once again, don't come for me, but sometimes I think that's a little funny because I don't want you to sell me your product based on what you're trying to get. So if you're a realism artist, let's see some of your realism pieces that you've studied or you're proud of.
Right.
As opposed to you just tattooing some, like, you know, Sacred Heart tattoos and skulls and crosses that you think will get you a tattoo apprenticeship. Of course, if there's realistic pieces that translate into that, sure, it's not a bad idea, but I think it's best to showcase your art and your personality through your art. You know, if you're tattooing designs that showcase your artistic style, like I told you, I like sketching.
Yep.
So my portfolio had a lot of that in it, a lot of those sketchy lines.
Just like literally just your sketches,
Yes.
not like a design for a tattoo.
No, it was basically what I'm about.
Yeah.
Because if like, think of it this way, at the time that I was getting into tattooing, shops were moving into this system where there were specific artists that tattooed specific things, because tattooing is not really illegal in North America.
Yeah.
You have the luxury of branding yourself into one avenue.
Yeah.
You don't have to learn all the styles. So what they did was, you're just going to tattoo color realism, and I'm just going to tattoo fine line illustration. But that's your whole portfolio. Right? So now, when you're applying for a job, you can just show them your whole color realism portfolio, and they'll be like, sick. When you graduate, that's what you're going to do. And what we're going to do is orient your journey to perfect that skill. We're going to teach you how to tattoo that skill and apply that to you. But never in your life are you going to tattoo an armband or tribal or anything like that, because it's kind of like being a master of one. And that's my point. So now people have the luxury of the industry is this way. So do it. You don't have to showcase everything you do. If there's something you like to tattoo, draw, if it's just dragons, if it's just wolves, if it's just people's heads, show that.
You can be a little bit more specialized in what you're all about, right?
Yeah, of course, if you want to sprinkle something random in there and you're like, oh, this is, you know, some pottery I did, and then you took a photograph of it and you brought it in, it's just nice to show that you understand lighting or theory or something.
Right.
But if you have a clearer way to identify your personality, you know, and stand out with that identity, why not?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's just me. Maybe I'm different, but
it's like a parallel with like the digital art industry too, because it's like some people are just known as being like the character design guy.
Yeah.
You know, some people are known as the background guy.
Right.
They just like they're masters of that. Like I know some artists who are just like who worked on Love, Death, Robots. Like these backgrounds were just crazy, and it's all done by the same guy, and he just does backgrounds.
Yeah,
right. It's like you specialize in that. You tell people, hey, this is what I do, and and if you become the best at that, then people are going to come to you for that specific need.
Exactly. That whole practice, that repetition only strengthens your skill.
What's something about your work that you love the most? We're battling the inner demons now.
Just kind of, just quiet those voices.
Try not to hate your work for 1 minute.
Yes, okay, I can take that. It's honestly, it's the shading, because especially nowadays, I actually present my designs to my clients before the appointment, and when I do that, it's only the outline.
Yeah,
So there's no shading, no rendering, no depth. It's just like this flat stencil. It's like, here, that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah.
But then when I tattoo it and shade it now, it's all in here. I'm not using a reference anymore. I'm not going from any point. It's all just from inside. And when that comes to life, that shading, but using the shape shading texture of all those lines, I like it for two reasons. Because I feel like just tattooing with just the lining is a bit taboo in our industry. It's not necessarily the process. I mean, I wouldn't call it fully taboo, but I know that for years people looked down on that until it was a style, you know?
I see.
And now that it is one and people can see that it has healed well and there, once again, is a method to that madness, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But there was a period where, you know, it was definitely frowned upon. You didn't tattoo that way.
Oh, so like this more illustrative, like hatching style, like,
It's come a long way.
yeah, back in the day, people didn't think it was like a legit thing.
I think if you took that to an artist 10 years ago, they would look at it and be like, that's not possible.
Wow.
Yeah, when people take those little like coins and get them tattooed in realism, they'd be like, that's way too small. We need to do it at least 3 inches.
Wow. So,
So,
like,
which is why it's like almost like a phenomenon. And when it started, it blew up.
so the industry itself has like changed a lot too.
It's
like,
evolved so much with we didn't fully have cartridges before.
Wow.
It was barred needles for coil machines. So it's advanced in so many different ways. Even the quality of our ink has changed.
It's
So,
just constantly changing
yeah,
still.
yeah.
That's
That's
cool.
the thing. Yeah, we have to flow with that. So
That's kind of like my field too. There's just like new tablets coming out, new
Yeah.
features coming out.
right. So
new updates to Photoshop every year.
yeah, exactly, that you have to adapt to. But yeah, if that answers it, it's basically the shading and rendering because it brings it to life.
Yeah. And Dayne's got very sick shading and rendering. If you guys
Thank
have seen my tattoos.
Yeah, it helps with animal fur. Yeah.
Yeah. What are tattoo customer green flags?
Green flags. Okay. I enjoy the warm energy, but I think what helps the most is the openness, the open-mindedness. I think to collaborate. I do like when people are articulate and they're firm with things they like and things they don't like. When they're too strict and it's kind of like dictating or delegating, then you can't fully work. It's a team effort. It's a collaborative piece. So, green flag is the openness to it, openness to change certain things because maybe you have an idea but it won't work on this canvas area and canvas space. So that's definitely one thing.
And do you like often get people who come in and they're like, I need this design done this way, no way else. Nothing can be changed. You're just gonna do this.
Not now.
Not anymore.
No, I did before. I did that quite a bit, but I think that's normal of a service where you're working with someone who is learning. You sometimes are hesitant and you feel like you have to guide them.
Right.
Some people are the opposite, where they're like, you're still a professional, you go, and I'm honored when I hear that, and I'm sure every artist is. But there are some who are a little unsure, a little hesitant, and they just want to clarify and confirm that everything's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a green flag.
Green flag is open-mindedness.
Yes.
Oh, so like, what about the opposite of that? This is my question. What's a red flag?
I don't know. A red flag. Well, someone who's not sober, for sure. That's I mean, it doesn't happen often, but if it does happen, you can tell. And it's not just because, they're unpredictable. It's the skin. You can't work with that. And, a lot of the times, if they're moving about, they're jittery. I will say that, okay, so this might be a touchy subject. If my client's nervous, that's a bit of a red flag, and not like a really dark red flag, but
Okay.
it
It's like a
is
pink
just-
flag.
It's a pink flag, yeah. It's something that I have to. I want to address that before we go in.
Right.
I really thrive on trying to contribute to a healthy environment before we start the tattoo, whether that's the way I'm speaking to you or the atmosphere or just simply asking how your day was before we even start tattooing. Anything to make this feel like home. So the moment I notice someone's incredibly nervous, this is a red flag because by the time we get to the tattoo, it can go so far into the skin, even rejecting ink. I once had a client who was so uncomfortable that when I asked him to simply just move his arm, he was so tense. He's like this, and he was so stiff.
Oh yeah.
And like he pretty much almost broke my needle. Like it was, you know what I mean? So it's you don't want to no one likes to be told to calm down, but
Yeah.
you unfortunately do. You have to find a way to put yourself in a state of zen,
Yeah.
whether that's through your artist, through your music, if you like that playful banter, anything to make yourself feel calm, because it doesn't have to be that daunting or scary of a process, right? It's fun. You get to walk away with something cool.
Right.
So if you come with like, a more chill, vibey kind of,
So I guess if you're going to get your tattoo, just don't be too scared. Don't be nervous. Do what you can to
Yeah.
help yourself relax.
right.
And then you also want to go to an artist, I'm assuming, who can actually make you feel relaxed.
Right, exactly. And it's fine if you are nervous and you tell your artist that. It's okay, because maybe they can help you walk you through it.
Right.
And a lot of the times when people are nervous, the moment they start, they're like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so that's it, So, yeah.
What is it like to be Sam's tattoo artist?
It was, oh my
Oh,
God.
this is
I'll be honest, I didn't know.
You had
I'll
no
be
idea.
honest, I live under a rock. No, okay, so I know Sam, but when I got the email request, I didn't look into it. I don't stalk every single one of my clients.
Yeah.
If someone says something sketchy, then I'm like,
Yeah.
But we were just consulting back and forth. I got the email, everything was fine. It was a tiger. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. You didn't, ask for anything absurd. And
Yeah.
I saw Sam and I'm like, cool, Sam. And we kept going at it. But then somewhere through, the adventures of YouTube and Instagram and all that fun stuff, I saw the account and I was like, wait a second. And I had to go back and be
Wait a
like,
minute.
oh my God.
Who is
oh
he?
my God. Yeah, I honestly more so realized towards the end of the design. I think I know where this is going. If I had known prior to, I probably would have been a bit nervous. But because it wasn't in my head, I just created the design and gave it to you. But
Right.
I think there's that sense of, respect as well. So I feel like, although I would still be professional about it, I would definitely be nervous.
Well, that's cool to know that you didn't know, so you
Yeah.
like literally just went in without any pressure.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you just like did it.
I
I
did
feel like
just
that's
do it.
how you make your best art, right?
Exactly.
And like
exactly.
this tiger is like proof of that, right?
I appreciate it. But that's just answering the first part. The second part of it, I guess, is like, when we met and when we're here. We're doing this.
Just
So
a guy, guys.
We're friends. We're cool.
Just a guy. We're chill. Look how chill we are.
We're just gonna go on our boat later.
I don't know what people expect. It's like, oh, what's it like to be Sam? Like, is he like all over the place, all over the walls and stuff? Like, dude, no, I'm just
He's
a guy.
just a human guy.
We're just
He's
two
cool.
guys. It's
just the best guy
I'm
ever.
human.
The best guy ever.
This one's interesting. How long did it take you to do your biggest tattoo that you've ever done?
Oof, probably a couple of sessions. So
And a couple of sessions? Only a couple?
okay, I'm saying couple. Like at least 10.
Oh my.
Yeah. So maybe 10 sessions. I've done a couple of back pieces. I've done a few back pieces.
Oh,
and
my.
each of the back pieces have been like 6 to 10 paid sessions. And then there maybe have been a session if I want to do a little bit of touch up on something here and there, or finesse here and there. So yeah, an average of 10 sessions, each session about 4 to 5 hours, maybe some
That's
longer.
crazy. So you're talking like 40, 50 hours
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a single piece.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's one of the bigger pieces. But if you're talking about a piece in one go, probably one that I really had to finish was 9 hours, because the client was traveling back.
Oh.
So it was we had to get it done that day.
Right.
And a back-to-back session was an option, but back-to-backs are incredibly painful.
Right.
So I was trying really hard not to get there.
Right.
So we were both tired. He was haggard, the poor guy, but like we made it. It was like a dragon. But yeah, we did it.
Wow, 9 hours. What was it like? Was it arm, leg?
It was the arm. Yeah. That's another reason why I'm like, you can pull through. Yeah. If this was his leg or like his back, I'm like, this guy's gonna die.
How long is the process of becoming a professional tattoo artist?
That is a good question. I'm gonna take it as like, graduating from apprentice to.
What if we say you start from like you have your sketchbook, you're walking into a shop, like from that
there
moment
to like fully
being
being
a
on your
professional.
own.
Yeah.
Okay. It can be as quick as 2 months, believe it or not.
No way.
It can be as long as 2 years. And I'm speaking from experience because I have 2 friends who have done both.
That's crazy. 2 months.
Yeah, I graduated in 6, but I've known, and that's the average.
6 is pretty fast.
6 to 8 is the average, but it's as little as 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, she was a tank. She did 2 months of an apprenticeship and she started tattooing, and she was phenomenal. And then there was a friend of mine who was 2 years,
Okay.
2 years, and it just wasn't hitting. It took a really long time. Yeah, 2 years.
Okay, so anywhere between 2 months to 2 years. I
Yeah.
guess it depends on the person, but the average is like six.
Yeah,
8 months.
it depends on the person. It depends on how your how much you push yourself, and a bit of it is talent or skill, just the how quickly you absorb information.
Right.
Like I said, you have to account for all these things and be patient with yourself. But sometimes it's also the mentor. Sometimes it's your environment in your shop. It's not always you. Sometimes it is you got a really bad hand, and but what is in your control is figuring out if it's worth staying there and trying to see how that goes, because like every industry, there's people who are really kind and nice, and there's people who aren't always that way.
Yep.
And sometimes maybe you deserve to graduate in a year, but the people pulling the strings don't think so.
Yeah, and they just keep
It's
you,
just a bias.
keep you
It's
down.
an
Yeah.
opinion. So it has happened before too, and that's not something artists are proud of, and they're trying desperately to change that. And the industry has progressed, but if that is a thing that has happened, sometimes it still happens, but you have to.
You got to make your own
You
decisions.
got to make your own decisions. Yeah, yeah.
I'm a beginner tattoo artist, and it's been hard getting clients. Any tips for that?
I feel that. Honestly, I don't want to give you the answer that the internet gives you and tells you it's the economy, because yes, although it is, there's like, I'm sure you've seen that there's people out there who are tattooing and booking next year, And it's
Yeah.
like, how do I do that? And part of it is getting into tattooing right now is it's kind of in a state, right? It's at the lowest turn. People don't fully have money for tattooing because it's not really necessary.
The market is tough right now.
The market is tough, and that's partly what it is. So if you don't, and it could also be you, not in the sense where I'm saying that you're bad. It's more so that you don't have any means of getting any proof of your portfolio. You don't get to experience. You don't get to do any field work because there's a lack of clients.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the problem is. It's the time. It's really the time. Like if you got into tattooing maybe around the time I was getting into and just a little bit after,
Yeah.
Anywhere from 8 to 6 years ago.
Yeah,
you were
those were the
lucky.
good days, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, 2016, those
yeah.
were the good times.
Instagram wasn't volatile,
Oh my
as
God.
volatile.
I miss 2015,
Yeah, you
2016.
just post something up. You don't even need to hashtag it. You just leave.
We can afford houses back then.
could afford
Gas
houses,
wasn't so
yeah.
expensive.
No,
Those are the good days.
What is AI? Like,
Yeah, what is AI?
it was it's like a fever dream. But but that's part of what it is. But I'm not saying that won't get better. But at the same time, that those are contributing factors to the lack of clients, right? People who do have clients have had the opportunity to build the portfolio and build the client base. These are returning clients. If I'm going to be honest about something, 2023 was one of the toughest years for tattoo artists, and what carried me were my returning clients. Almost 80% of the year, it was my returning clients that I tattooed a small tattoo on, and then all of a sudden they want this big sleeve. I had the chance to build that rapport, so that is part of it.
So 2023 to like now, it was tough because of the economy. Right?
It was getting turbulent. Right after COVID, it was booming because everybody had money.
Yeah. But then like a little bit after, people were
yeah,
like, wait
yeah.
a minute.
Yeah, inflation, everything changed, right?
Yeah.
And tattoos kind of get put on the side because
Yeah.
we don't really need them.
It's a bit of a luxury.
Exactly. It's, and in some ways people argue it's almost a status symbol, really. So, and it's not meant to be that way. It's quite a sacred process, and a lot of people see more. There's depth to it, right? It's not just that, but now there's talk of tattoos costing as much as a down payment on a house, and it's like, hello, So yeah, who really has money to burn like that, right?
Yeah.
So I do understand, and that's partly where it is. The other contributing factor is how many people tattoo now. You have to also consider that yes, you're a new tattoo artist, but you're not the only one.
Yeah.
Everyone had that idea as soon as people started TikTok tutorials.
Oh boy, TikTok tutorials. I know a thing or two about that.
Yeah, and it's easy, it's quick, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I don't even have a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm just saying that if 10 people see that one video, like in your city alone, that's just that many more artists in the industry, and not everyone goes to a shop. Some people open their own. Some people tattoo from their home. So you're competing with a lot of people. So that's what it is.
That's true. I think it's just like the barrier of entry to a lot of these art careers have lowered over the past years.
Those gates are wide open.
Yeah, gates are open. There's no more gatekeepers now, right? It's not like
They're all gone.
back in the day you gotta like.
No, all those gates, they're all tattooing now. We're tattooing, no one's minding the gates.
This one's controversial. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it okay to pick one of your tattoo designs and do it with another tattoo artist?
Ooh, okay.
Spicy.
You know what? I like this. I just talked about this. No.
No.
The answer is no, and I'll explain why. A lot of my designs that I tattoo are exclusive to my client. Sometimes they mean things, sometimes they don't. But the point is, it's a collaborative effort between two people and their ideas, and it's an original piece. If I'm going to be a little blunt, part of that justifies the numbers that tattoos cost.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't pay somebody 3 to 4 digits for a tattoo just to have it tattooed on somebody else.
Yep.
Especially if I started like changing things that, you know, resonate with me. Maybe I want this tiger's face to be a particular way, or maybe it could have wings, or maybe it's wearing a bracelet that's important to me. I don't know. But it takes away that uniqueness and how special that is to a particular person, and I don't think that's right. It's not an NFT.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And here's the other thing. Here's the second part to it. It is all right to do that if you buy a tattoo ticket. Have you ever heard of this?
No, it's a tattoo ticket.
It's a new thing. It's a design, a pre-made design that is sold online, and for accessibility purpose, you buy it from an artist, so you pay them for the ticket of the design, and you take that to someone local or someone you like and get it tattooed. But it is the permission that they've given you in exchange for a little bit of money.
Oh, I
and
see.
it's a repeatable design. So now this is with the added, you know, understanding that everybody can have this design.
I see.
You just pay for this in exchange.
Okay, so that's a good thing to do. Like
that's a good thing
you
to do
support the artist.
Exactly.
You get their permission.
You get their permission.
And you don't feel bad about like stealing a piece that they.
No, and it's and you're also aware of everything. You're aware that you're not the only one buying this new design.
Yes.
You're aware that now you have a little piece of that artist's style because that's what you like about their work, right? Otherwise, why would you want their work?
Yeah.
So I think that's the healthier answer to that question, like the healthier option.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do that. I've actually had people ask me about that just because we're not local. I would just say this all boils down to supporting an artist.
Yeah.
Because this is such a competitive industry, like every other industry. Your best way to support them is to maybe get tattooed by them. The other thing is, if it's an individual artist that you like, it's probably because they have some unique characters exclusive to them, which means that if Sam was the artist you wanted work from, but you wanted to get tattooed by me because I was close to you, I can never be Sam. I will never tattoo like Sam. I will tattoo like me.
Yeah.
And that's going to make you unhappy.
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience here. I had someone who wanted a tattoo from someone from Italy, and they drove me into the ground trying to make edits because they wanted exactly like that artist.
Oh.
You know what I did in the end? I actually gave them the deposit back. And I said, respectfully, we can't do this.
We can't
I said,
do
because then we're going to get to the tattoo and you're going to hate it because
Yeah.
I'm unfortunately not that artist. Just do them a service and maybe go there. Because
Yeah.
even if I tried to fake it, they would like not enjoy the tattoo. And you know, that's a hit to my professional career.
Yeah, I mean, like every artist has such a distinct style that if you like something from this artist, maybe you don't even realize what it is about that style that you love so much. And then, like when you take it to someone else, they just have a different way of seeing things, different way of working.
Right.
And you can't replicate that one to one. Like everyone's unique.
Exactly. There's no artist is ever going to say yes to this. That's the problem. So it's not wrong to think that and ask that. It's completely allowed, but no artist is going to say yes because a lot of, on the flip side, the artist like copying someone else's work, they won't feel comfortable. It's also uncommon to have an artist accept someone else's work. They'll always try to change it.
Yeah.
If they're a conceptual artist, they'll say this is cool because I tattoo animals and flowers, and I get other artists in the city who do animals and flowers in their own cool, unique style.
Yeah.
And every time I get their work, I'm always like, oh, cool, that's this person's work. Yeah, we're not going to copy this exactly.
Yep.
But you always have to disclaim that. So
Yeah. You kind of turn it into your own thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is there anything specific a customer should do before getting tattooed? Anything to be aware of?
Chill out.
Chill out.
Chill out.
Relax.
Take a day off. I mean, not everyone can do that. We got to work, right? No, I just mean rest well. Don't go on a bender. Just relax, eat well, sleep well, drink a lot of water or whatever you like to drink that's not going to ruin your skin. The best thing you can do for your artist is set them up for success. So, don't come on 2 hours of sleep. I get it. Some things happen. Sometimes life happens. But if you can rest well, be peaceful, set yourself up for that peaceful session. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess just because you did mention that it is, like you did say that it is more of like a medical process too. Like tattooing is not just art because you're involved with the organic body, right?
Yeah,
Like
the living skin, yeah.
yeah, living skin. So it is a bit medical. So if you don't take care of your body, the artist is gonna be
Yeah.
able to feel it.
Because every day we feel differently when we wake up, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes your skin has a new pimple on it, and you're like, what happened? What have I been doing? And
something happened.
yeah,
to
but
cause that.
exactly, everything you've done that week will cause that. So maybe this goes before even the previous day of the session, that whole week. If you know it's coming up, be careful with what you're doing. Maybe don't put yourself in that sports activity that you wanted to. That's going to ruin that area that you're about to get tattooed. That's happened to me. Booked an
Yeah.
appointment. Oops, I grazed my arm for a basketball game, and
Ooh.
yeah, some things you can avoid.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, do your best to set your artist up for success by just taking it easy.
Yeah.
Eat
Don't
well.
drink. Don't do
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah, drink water. Arrange snacks for your session and just comfort. I've seen people bring pillows, a bunch of like easy snacks,
Yeah.
something sweet, when your blood sugar,
Yeah.
things like that. So
I'm bad at that. I come into our
just go-
sessions just ready to yap. That's all I
no,
do.
but you're good. You're always good. Some people don't need it, but maybe if you're a little nervous or your body a little better and to the point where you get weak, if you feel those things, then most definitely bring whatever you need to survive and live and walk out of that chair alive.
This one's good. How do you know how much to price your work?
Ooh, wow. So that's a really good question. So in the beginning, it's really hazy, and people throw you weird things, strange curveballs like a palm-sized tattoo, which is interesting because everyone's palm's different. So it's people will usually gauge it by an hourly rate, and it's a price based on that. So you go by time, and that's usually the best way to go with how long something takes you. When you work in a shop, you'll kind of understand that most tattoos operate from the basis of what the shop's minimum rate is.
Oh.
So if a walk-in tattoo, just say a small dot, a heart, or infinity symbol, anything under an inch, on average, at least when I started, was about $80 to $100.
Oh, I see.
A small dot, was $80.
That's their minimum.
That was their minimum. There were deals where they'd have like a $20 a pop kind of situation, $40, and then people would like jump at that.
Yeah.
But $80 was the minimum. It was a fair minimum. Something like a script, maybe a 2-inch to 3-inch script, would be about anywhere from $120 to $160, depending on where you're going.
And we're talking in Canadian dollars
Yeah,
here,
we're
so it's
talking
worth
Canadian.
a little bit less.
Yeah, it's cheaper down here. Yeah. That's kind of where you start, where everything's kind of like a little bit airy.
Okay.
But nothing's costing a tremendous amount of money just
Yeah.
for something small, unless you go to a luxury tattoo shop or something. By the time you start to graduate and you get pieces that are more conceptualized and closer to your style, you've been designated an hourly rate by the shop. And it could start off at like 100 to 120 if you're a junior artist, and you can graduate to about 180 towards the end of your junior artist phase. 200 and up is for an artist usually.
That's an artist,
Yeah.
fully evolved.
Well, not still learning, but like you basically have the chops and you understand things. You don't need a mentor all the time.
Right.
And you're kind of branded into a style. Like people know that you're the guy that they want realism from. You're the person that they want the fine line from.
Right.
You're a little more established, right? And that's when you start getting that hourly rate, and like if this is going to take me 3 hours, that's what I'm going to charge here.
Someone asked for the most crazy story tattooing someone. It's a crazy story.
Okay. There was this one time where I was about to leave the shop, and a couple walks in at right when we're closing, and my friend and I were the last ones in the shop. We were closing. We were really tired, and we were about to leave, and our boss was evil that day. He's like, "Guys, you're taking this tattoo. If you want to make it easier, one each." And both of us are like, for solidarity, let's do it. So I tattooed one of them, and my colleague tattooed the partner. And I was thinking, okay, and they kept telling us, it's just something small. So we said, okay, that's cool, let's do it. And we were trying not to be hasty because we were really tired, but we were professional. And it ended up being this length of giant script, blocky font, not even Times New Roman. It was just like evil New Roman. It was huge and chunky. And either way, it was a tattoo that wasn't going to take a short amount of time. It was going to take a while.
Yeah.
For at least for us at that time, we didn't mind. We were like, okay, whatever, let's do it. And I was tattooing, and we're across from each other, right? I'm here, my friend's over here, and we're tattooing, and we have music playing in the background, and It's Getting Hot in Here by Nelly came on, and my client just started bawling, and she was crying, and I was like, ma'am, can you please stop moving? And she's like she's
Oh my
going
God.
at it, mate. And I'm like, do you need a paper towel? And then her partner kind of turns to her. She's like, I know, babe, I know. And there was a connection. Something was going on there, but both my friend and I didn't want to ask.
Oh my God.
We felt it was too personal to ask, but they have a very personal experience with that song. So
I wonder what happened.
it really made you wonder. Till today, we joke about it, but yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
That is pretty.
That
That is you balled to that song. Any tips for fine artists who want to get into tattoo work, intern/apprentice, that kind of stuff?
Tips.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be for a fine artist.
Yeah, like someone I'm assuming with like a
Painter,
fine art background.
Yeah. It would be nothing different than what I've suggested in terms of applying with a portfolio that showcases the normal fundamentals. You'd want to show theory, lighting, maybe even character design, perspective, things like that. It can really help you because that's one of the ways that I went into most of my avenues of art. And I think any mentor or professor seeing that you have that understanding will deem you adept and in line with that work. So I think I would just once again arrange a portfolio for that apprenticeship and showcase those things. Yeah, because
for a shop.
yeah, you don't necessarily have a style that you've thought about or you characterize your work that way, but you do have the strong fundamentals that most people don't when they're getting into this, right?
Yeah.
They're thinking straight from a character design style perspective, but now you've got all this rich knowledge of drawing theory and fundamentals.
That's an advantage.
Yeah, showcase that work. I know you've done those real life studies of life drawings. Life drawings will take you far. So like any of that, the paintings, the studies, it all helps.
What is your workflow like?
My workflow, in terms of tattooing or straight from the drawing?
I guess like maybe we can start from like zero. Like a client sends you an email, I want this. Like what's your workflow from that?
Gotcha. Okay. So usually when clients send me emails, it's definitely different than in a consultation because what I try to do in a consult is really hone in on what they're saying and what they want. I get their do's and don'ts. If they ask for flowers, I actually ask which flowers they don't like. So I strictly stay away from that. And then I understand the essence of what they want. If they sometimes have a story that doesn't hurt to hear it, just get a feel for the person. It's so much easier. But through email, you have to look for those things. So there's a lot of the normal average tattoo questions that you get where how big is it? What are you looking for, black and gray or color?
Yep.
The placement, things like that. And sometimes it's how you're envisioning the tattoo because some people see a specific aesthetic. So if they've got references, you request those. So that's kind of my workflow through email. But when it's personal, I more so just get a vibe for them and chat, so I get to see what their personality's like. Because there's some people who want a creature, for example, like an animal, to look a little more aggressive, and some people don't. And that's something I feel like I can understand easier when I see them in person.
Right.
And if I hone in on that before designing, there's less kickbacks. But what I prefer to do is once all that is established through email, for example, and I have all my information, closer to the design date, I would have designed something for the client based on all their specifications and send it in. And I give myself and the client enough time that if there's kickbacks, they want an edit, I can do that and deliver it back so that when we go to the appointment, there's none of that. There's no drawing, there's no changes. There's just maybe some resizing or placement changes, but we never have to do the nitty gritty and we don't waste precious tattoo time.
Yeah.
Because for me, that space I believe is a little more sacred in the sense where we could have fun.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have to be there at each other's throats going, well, I think it's better with the mouth open. Or I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Do you even draw, dude? Like, it's like,
We already decided on this.
we talked about this. This is a kind of a controversial thing because I still have friends that ask me why I send designs before.
Oh.
They think it's more of your personal time wasted.
Really?
And they're not wrong. It is a lot like tattooing the way I like to the workflow. I'm not saying I'm the only person that does this. A lot of artists do this, but it is quite demanding of your personal time. It's when I told you I sometimes stay up till 4 a.m. It is a normal thing.
Yeah.
If I need to get designs done or if I just want to get designs done, because if I'm tattooing like for 8 hours a day, where's the time to do that, right?
Right.
So that's the only problem about designing it before, that you have to manage that time and set it aside,
I see.
right? And then also account for if the client doesn't like it. But I have a lot of friends, and there's a lot of artists who prefer to design a little bit when they're with their client, because it's easier for them to edit. If they don't like something, they address it right away.
I see.
So that's my workflow, yeah.
Who are the most annoying and likable clients? The two extremes, I guess.
Wow, you're trying to get me canceled, right? Okay.
Who's the most annoying? Who's the most annoying kind?
The most annoying client, yeah, let's start with them first. Honestly, it's the ones that are constantly telling you what to do, or like staring at your tattoo. Like, I know it's mean, but it's like, even though I understand what I'm doing, and I know I'm a professional, I'm in charge, it kind of like tricks me, and then I'm like, do I know what I'm doing? And I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm in control. I get it. But I think what makes me feel anxious is the fact that they seem anxious. If they're constantly looking at their tattoo, I don't exactly know why they're doing that.
Oh.
And sometimes it's not about me, right? Here's the other thing. I'm always making it about myself.
Right.
But maybe they're just looking at it because it makes them feel better to see it in process, or they want to catalog every step of the way, or maybe they just want to relate where that line was because it really hurt, But it can be frustrating because I've never asked. It's like, is something wrong? but you kind of want to ask.
You feel it, right?
Yeah, because if it's not even just like, oh, cool, that's where you are. Or I've had, like, even yesterday I tattooed someone and he couldn't see the tattoo, and the poor guy, every time it was painful, and every time we stopped, he kind of like looked back and looked at his calf, and I totally understand because there's no, you're not seeing any of it.
Yeah.
But if you're tattooing your arm and you can see that, and then someone has to stop and do this every time, it's a little frustrating because I'm constantly thinking when I'm tattooing.
Yeah.
If anything is moved that isn't on my doing, I have to sort of break my thought and tend to my client. Is something wrong? Do you need a break?
Yeah.
So when I'm wiping, I'm constantly thinking, it sounds weird, but you're doing math in your head, right? And you're trying to figure everything out. You're trying to speak to the skin, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm going to take a look at my tattoo because I want to, and yeah.
Just breaks your flow, right?
It does break your flow, and it's completely understandable, and it's normal, and you're allowed to do that. It is your body, but at the same time, it's like, maybe ask, right? You don't need to do it after, like, I've had it done after every line stroke.
That's crazy.
And there's a lot of, like, I wish I had a timer that, like, a thing that helped me check my count.
My
because
goodness.
I've had someone do that after every stroke, and the moment I like dip and wipe, his arm is gone. I'm like, mate, just
My
I gotta,
goodness.
strap it down. So
Okay, yeah. That's the most annoying kind.
it's a little frustrating. They don't necessarily do anything wrong, and they're not like toxic or anything, but it's just you're breaking up the workflow. It could be so much smoother of a process.
I think it's totally understandable. And I think it's good to cover this because, like, for people who are looking to get a tattoo, maybe now you know what are the things to look out for.
Yeah.
How to treat your artist well.
Yeah,
Right?
and here's the thing: you don't see this kind of thing coming, right? You don't see the person that might make you uncomfortable or say something controversial or like, I remember once during the time of COVID, I had a client fully like tell me like his topics, his opinions about COVID and wearing a mask and not, and that's how the session started. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, I respect your opinion as long as you respect mine, but I don't want to get into it. Like,
Yeah.
I would not, I'd rather not, get into all that. And
Yeah.
that's like, he set the tone. He set the tone for that.
Tattooing is not the time to get into politics.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's the thing. We don't see that coming, but it is a service industry where it's one person connecting with another, and you're going to deal with that, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
people are gonna tell you about that, but then they're also gonna tell you about the divorce they're going through, and you're gonna have to sit there and be like, how am I gonna deal with this?
What a great day.
yeah. It's 8:00 in the morning. So. And the other part of that question is the best.
The likable kind. But I
likable.
think we covered that, right?
We did.
The,
And
the open-minded.
The open-minded. Yeah, I agree. That's
Cooperative.
Exactly, yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Relaxed.
If they kind of done it, you know what? Even if you haven't done gotten a tattoo before, at least if you do a little bit of research to know what you're expecting, the initiative, that to me means a lot. Because you could be totally nervous, but you could be like, oh, cool, like I heard that this is how you apply the stencil. Can you tell me what that is? I think that's lovely. I personally enjoy that. And I love to share. I love to share my knowledge. I don't like to hide it all, even to my clients. Until they tell me to shut up, I'll tell them everything, So, yeah.
That's how we became friends. We both love to talk.
Exactly.
This is a good question. Is Sam stinky? What kind of?
For the first session, I met Sam, I was wearing a mask, so I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know.
Was that during like
It
COVID
was
times?
COVID times. We were wearing
Oh,
masks.
okay, yeah.
Sam is not. He smells like righteousness and talent.
There you go.
Like,
And burbs.
and burbs. Yeah.
Is the tattoo industry welcoming to new artists?
It depends on the time. So like the industry's changed where, you know what? No, it's not. It's
not?
really not. It's really not. No, it's not because I think with a saturated market, it's only natural to like look at new artists sometimes and just be like, ah, here we go again, you know.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then people forget that everybody was there at one point. I was there. My colleagues were there. My mentors were there, and I think in every part of the industry, they are protective of it, right? In every industry. I'm not saying that they're gonna be rude to you, but there's a fair share of people who have horrible experiences. And being an apprentice, they kind of treat you like that. Like you don't know what you're doing. You don't really deserve to be here. And their whole job is almost like they want to weed out the weak, the weak-minded. I mean, the ones that aren't really determined to do this, and so in that sense, they're not as friendly, right? But what I can say is fighting that, there's a lot of people contributing to a healthier environment, and there's a community here that is very welcoming. They're appreciative of different styles and art, and that's one of the things about Toronto. There's an artist for everything. There's so many interesting art styles that have been transposed into tattooing, from microrealisms to Renaissance paintings, and all sorts of cool, intricate work, right? So I think that's the part that's very accepting.
So it's not welcoming, guys.
So it's not
Don't
not
do
at
it.
all. Not at all. No.
Be ready to fight.
Yeah. Just be ready to fight. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Is your skill on paper as good as on skin? So I guess like when you're drawing on paper versus skin, the difference. Is there a difference?
There is a difference there. So it's interesting because I used to always think that I was better on paper. Naturally I spent more time with that. And nowadays, there are pieces that I've tattooed where I'm like, wow, this tattoo fully rendered looks way better than it was on paper. And before I say that, my clients do. And that's when it obviously really hits, because, self-praise is really no praise.
Yep.
But there are those times where, I'm super proud of that, but I can see that difference, because when you start designing and in your head, you actually start to learn how to design something for a tattoo. When it is actually a tattoo, the charm is so much stronger than when it was on paper, because it wasn't meant to just be on paper.
Yeah.
The skin adds a certain, level of depth to that.
Yeah, the three-dimensionality
Yes,
of it.
exactly. So yeah, at one point it was on paper, but now I think I'm actually a tattoo artist. Like I feel like one. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone said, I'm so afraid I might have a change in taste and dislike the tattoo I want to get. What do I do? Maybe just do it.
Yeah, just do it, see what
Just
happens.
do it.
Yeah, this industry is unhinged. You might as well be too, right? No, I think there is an answer to that. So it's a strange one. You can get a temporary tattoo of the tattoo you like.
Oh, that's smart.
That is possible now. You can print those out. You can design them yourself. We have so many apps. It's one of the reasons why AI can help, I guess. If I have to.
Hot take.
Yeah, hot take. Yeah, it can in this case. There are apps where I'm sure you have to subscribe to them or something, but you can get a design that you like, try it out, and see how you feel. Buy a couple of them and try them out for a couple of months. Or you can, set it at, do what I did and set it as your like wallpaper or your screensaver and stare at it for 2 years. And if you remember it in your sleep, then you should get it tattooed. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I think you could resort to, because you're right. If you get something and you don't like it, there's really no way to deal with that. Although you can laser remove it and potentially cover it up, it's just an expense and pay and an experience you don't fully want to go through if you don't need to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
My philosophy on that is to just do it. Like if you want it right now, just do it.
Just get it.
It'll be a part of your lore as a person. You'll be like, hey, why did I get this piece back then? I don't like it now, but I loved it back then. So that was part of your lore, right?
Yeah. I just really wanted that big bird tattoo, and we went to
Also,
town.
like one thing I've noticed that I didn't really expect before is that when I have tattoos on my body, sometimes I just like get so used to them that I don't even think about them anymore.
Oh, totally.
I don't even think like, oh, I don't like this design anymore. I don't have that thought, because they're just like naturally, they've become a part of my body. So I don't even get a chance to dislike it.
Right,
even
right.
if I wanted to.
That's cool.
So that might be, you might have that same
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, it becomes a part of you, right? Like
Yeah,
quite
exactly.
literally. So
Oh, this one's good. How do you actually stay motivated to keep going during an apprenticeship? That's tough.
money, responsibilities, surviving, paying rent, pets, food. No, I love this. I love this. I love what I do. It's rewarding. And when I see the cool art or my friends' cool art or collecting it, I'm so proud of our industry. We always talk about the toxicity, but I am proud to see where it's going in a good direction. We're changing things. We're changing perspective and culture. And there are people who are, 2 to 3 generations before who had a very different experience of tattoos in their lifetime who now accept them. That's a massive thing to change someone's mind from a piece of art. That's cool. And I'm a part of that, a part of a person's life. When I'm reminded of what I do based on what I've done before and what I didn't like, I can understand why I'm still here, and that's what pushes me. I've been through 4 or 5 different parts of the art industry, and none of it felt as fulfilling as tattooing. So when I have a client who told me his grandfather cried when he saw the tattoo because he got a memorial piece for him and his grandmother, and his grandfather came from a time where he despised tattoos, that reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't know them. They never met me. They don't know anything about me. But somehow I managed to touch that person.
It's the impact of that.
It's the impact, exactly.
I guess you just got to keep in mind like the long term, the goal, like
Yeah.
your overarching kind of the goal that you're working towards, right? That's how you stay motivated. That's how you keep
Exactly.
going.
Yeah, and in a very simple mindset too. Like this is one of those industries where you get to draw the things you like, and you execute them.
Yeah.
I remember when I was an animator, I was thinking, cool, I'm going to work for Capcom and I want to make Monster Hunter designs and do this. No, I wasn't. I
You don't get to do that.
No, I don't get to do that. I have friends who work on shows and cartoons for kids that they never thought they were going to do.
Yeah.
And it's cool, and it definitely, is a good lifestyle and things like that, but it's not what they were set out to do. Right. And like I said, when I do get to draw, I get to tattoo those drawings, and they get to be the pieces that resonate with me, the things that I want to show the world who I am. And not many artists get to say that, right?
Yeah. It's like all the pieces that you love, that you made, that's like your pieces. You know, it's not like you're working on a factory line for a big corporation.
Exactly.
This is like you. It's
Yes,
very intimate.
yes.
And then these people walking around with their tattoos, people see it, other people see it, everyone sees it. Everywhere they go, they take it with them.
Exactly.
And then when they die, all your work also dies.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. It's all gone. That's a really good point you brought up, because one of the coolest things someone's ever told me is that they had a tattoo that we worked on together. It was an original concept, and then they went to Japan, and someone in Japan recognized my work.
Wow.
They didn't know her, and they recognized her work, and she texted me as soon as that happened, and I think that was crazy. I got chills when I read that message, because the person in Japan didn't really know her either. They just followed my work, and they went up to her and said, "Is that Rain Dog?" And I was shocked. I didn't believe it.
That's crazy.
I thought she was just gassing me up, but yeah, it was. She couldn't believe it herself, and she said she was so proud to have it. And that's the other thing, right? When you get to see how it changes people's confidence, or they just feel so alive in it with the tattoo. It's incredible.
Yep. You wouldn't believe how many compliments I get on this, because I always wear a t-shirt and this is always out.
Okay.
My God.
Yeah?
All the time. Yeah.
I love it. I love that.
Amazing. Do you agree in people's opinions that tattoos are bad? I guess this is like the taboo around
yes,
tattoos.
yes.
What do you think of that? Like, I feel like that's changing now.
That is definitely changing, and I'm definitely not on the side of it being bad. I have way too many. I'm actually trying to get this whole world tattooed, especially the ones who think it's bad. They're my favorite ones. It's definitely changed. It's people are connecting tattoos with different things and different meanings now. It's not so much a taboo or gang related or representing a lifestyle that's against the grain. I think it's definitely more accepted and actually seen and recognized as an art form. I don't even have to go that far. I'm just like, when I've showed my parents some of my tattoos, or my colleagues' tattoos, or my tattoo idols, my dad's an artist himself, and even he's like, that's a tattoo? Like, you can see the wonder in that. And
That's sick.
Yeah, exactly, because he doesn't have a single tattoo, and he told me he never wanted one when he actually came to get my first tattoo when I got it, and he was like, till the time I was about to get it, he's like, "Are you sure you want this? Why would you want this?" You know, he would always joke around, and be like, "If you want an arm scarring, I could give you that for free." Like, you know, but but yeah, to see that change, it's really cool, and I'm definitely on the side that thinks it's a good thing, it's a positive thing, you know, within reason, of course.
Yeah, I think like it also depends kind of on what industry you're going to. Like some industries are a bit more conservative still.
Definitely.
If you want to be a doctor or something, you can't be like rocking a hand tattoo, right?
No,
Like,
but
just case by case basis.
yes, I have seen CEOs and, you know, with hand tattoos and neck tattoos and things like that. So even if you work corporate, you know, could get around depending on position and how lenient they are. But you're right. I think for me, it's more so health. Like maybe don't get your eyeball tattooed.
Yeah.
But like if you want that arm tattoo and you're worried if it's, you know, is it appropriate to get a dragon tattoo? It's 2024. You can get that dragon tattoo.
Yeah.
But yeah, think about your health. You know, maybe don't try to go tattooing your teeth or
Yeah.
you know, your eyeball. That's just, don't start there.
Do it in good places.
Yes.
And yeah, I think now it's like accepted, at least in like cities like Toronto, you know, bigger cities, it's more so accepted as like an art form. When
Yes.
you see someone with a bunch of tattoos, you don't assume this is a dangerous person.
Oh.
It's just like this is a person who appreciates art form.
Exactly. In that aspect, I really think it's how you carry yourself. Because when I got my neck tattoo, I will admit, I set it up. I was ready for it. I was prepared. It was 2 sessions. After the first session, I actually freaked out. It was the first tattoo I ever got that I'm like, I almost had like a panic attack the next morning when I woke up and I saw how prominent it was. And I'm like, did I do the right thing? And
No.
I had cold feet, but it was already like, we already started it. And I was so scared and nervous because it was my first tattoo that was, it felt like a lifestyle change. It wasn't a tattoo anymore. Anything from the neck up, I feel, is a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
That's when, that's part of you, because that passport photo that you take,
Oh, yeah.
every time you look at yourself in the mirror when you brush your teeth,
Oh, yeah.
that's you. This is part of your identity now, right? You don't realize it. But when I got my neck tattoo, I'll be honest and say that I did freak out after the first session. But it's how you carry yourself, because after the second session, when I walked out of that tattoo shop and I'm like, all right, I'm ready for all the elderly people to spit at me. I'm good. Let's do this. And funny enough, I walked past this elderly woman and she looked at me and she actually complimented my tattoo. And she smiled and I was like, I should have gotten a neck tattoo years ago. Like, this is incredible. So
you've gotten like more positive interactions out of it than negative ones.
absolutely. And I think it's how you carry yourself. If people see you're, you know, a good person and you're not trying to harm anybody and you genuinely care, then
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what's on your body.
Just be a good person.
Exactly.
That's how you get through life. Just be a good person.
Yes.
But yeah, like I'm also not telling all of you guys to go out there and get tattoos. Definitely like consider your lifestyle, your career choice, your family, you know, how people are going to react to it. You know, just be aware of all that. But if everything aligns and everyone, you know, all career choice, family, everyone's cool with you getting a tattoo, like why not? There's no harm in it, right?
Exactly.
It's a piece of art on your body.
Exactly. As long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, I don't understand.
Or tattooing something offensive, but why would you do that?
Exactly.
This is a good. Do you know this joke? English or Spanish?
Is this a joke? I don't know.
He lost.
Oh no!
We got that one. That's a W. Okay, what? We're just gonna move on. What if your customer doesn't like the result? I feel like we kind of talked about this, right? Depends on how bad it is.
Yeah, you know what? I've never had that. Okay, so I don't
That's a
think
flex.
Yeah, it is. It is. No, this is only. I can only say that confidently because of what I said earlier. I hone in on what they want. I pay attention to that. So there's no room for mistake. They're walking out happy, you know. If they're unhappy with something, if I can even say that, it's because they want something a little darker or they want to shade it a little, you know, differently in this place. That's about it. And that's something I ask my clients a lot of artists ask their clients when they're finished the tattoo, please take a look. Take a look at it, inspect it, check. Because even though I'm the professional, if I miss something, I missed something, right? And that's normal. We all have those days. It doesn't happen often at all, but if it does, it's cool to get a second pair of eyes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I always encourage my clients to look and see because everyone's tastes are also different. So if you did want that tiger darker, we'll get back in the chair and tattoo it a little darker. You know, maybe what I was seeing in my head and what I was envisioning was different to you, and that's also normal. It's okay to have that.
Yeah.
So that's more so what I've experienced rather than someone not liking their tattoo.
That's your experience.
That's my experience.
Have you had like colleagues who just like
Yes.
don't go through the same process as you? Like they're not as meticulous about finding out what their customers like,
Or they just messed up.
or they just mess it up. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
How do they deal with that?
So okay, so a lot of the time is damage control. From what I've seen, if the customer is really upset because you spelled a word wrong, you have to expect some backlash from that. They might yell, they might say some not so nice things, and you have to basically just take it. You can apologize, but that doesn't really solve the case, does it? But if you're working for a shop, this is where it's beneficial, because through the shop you can figure out how you're going to work that out with the shop later. But with the clientele shops, I've seen them offer removal sessions.
Okay.
Or in the case of a tattoo being small and not as saturated, they could cover it up for free as well with an artist who the client is more comfortable with.
Okay.
So going back to the story I mentioned, there was someone who spelled something wrong, or input the wrong numerals, and to remedy that, they set the client up with an artist who did realism, and she tattooed a realistic feather or something like that to cover it up, because the client felt more comfortable. She's been tattooing for longer as well, and it was all free of charge. And I think on the shop's part, that's a good way to damage control. And then you execute the person who messed up. No, I'm just joking. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. Never. But yeah, that's generally what happens, unless of course the client's not cooperative and they're really pissed off.
Right.
And you get some bad Google reviews and they're gone, and you have to take the L.
Yeah, that's a big L. What's a good spot to have your first tattoo?
Upper arm.
Yeah, least painful. What are your working hours?
So now I can choose what I want to delegate as my working hours. So I pick Tuesdays to Fridays from 12 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I have a 4-3 split.
And a long weekend.
Yeah, but my weekend's not really a weekend.
You're still
draw. Yeah, I mean you're gonna hear that all the time. So
that's the thing with like tattoo artists. I feel like you get off work and you still have more sketches to make, more designs to make, right?
You might not have to do them in that moment, but you can always draw. When people say like, oh, I don't have to do anything, you can always do something with this industry. That's the problem. The work never really ends, especially if you have clients booked up.
Yeah.
You can always draw someone's design, right?
Yeah, so just start thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason that I keep that 3-day split is so I have a lot of airy time with that drawing. But then if I want to have a life and see my friend Sam and chill out, I can too. So
shoot videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you ever feel bad seeing people in pain? No. This one's interesting. What's the process of doing tattoo on someone with darker skin? Like, is that different from doing a tattoo on someone with light skin?
You know what? It's interesting because there has been a lot of controversy with this topic, but it shouldn't be any different. And people tend to think that you want to go deeper and saturate it more because it's darker, but it traumatizes the skin no matter what kind of skin you're tattooing on, right? And the only thing different is your canvas area generally is darker, right? Than what you'd see if it's white paper. So if you're orienting your designs with the contrast already that dark. So what it would change for me at least is my workflow. So maybe my white spaces remain white and I don't shade them further, but I tattoo my dark spaces even darker. I tattooed a black panther on a client with white flowers, and he had dark skin.
Oh wow!
And I made it
tricky.
It was tricky because it was a dark main subject matter on dark background.
Yeah.
So what I chose to do was make the animal so dark and detailed and used white, but I left the flowers pretty much not detailed at all, not shaded at all. It was just essentially outlined, right? But against that tattoo of the skin space and that panther, they really popped.
Yeah.
So there's things you can do to set up your tattoo, but in terms of technique, people will argue that yes, you have to tattoo a particular way, but in my experience, I haven't changed my workflow. I've just adapted to everyone's skin type. And sometimes the skin, based on their lifestyle, the skin's a little bit tough. Sometimes people talk about, their genes and their genetics and things like that, and sometimes the skin's softer and sometimes it's not. But I don't think that's exclusive to a particular.
Yeah, it's not based on color. It's more based on lifestyle, how your skin is.
The only thing that color contributes to is your understanding of art.
The contrast, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Lighter skin, more contrast. Darker skin, less contrast. And how do you change your art?
Exactly. Not at all is that like one better than the other, one easier than the other, or anything like that. It's just that once again, you have to adapt.
Just different. Yeah. Adapting. That's the motto of a tattoo artist.
The key word.
What parts of the body would you not tattoo? Is there any limits?
I mean, no one wants to get their genitals tattooed, man. But like, people ask.
People ask you for
People
that?
ask. I thought gone were the days where people would ask that, and then I got to like one of the most popular, like famous shops in the city, and 2 months in, and someone asked to get one of their testicles tattooed.
Oh,
Yeah, it happens, So,
oh,
yeah, the inner mouth, like on the lip, that's like inside the
oh
lip.
my God.
And it's not that I won't tattoo there. I have tattooed there.
Yeah.
I've also done my fair share of like risque places that I mentioned.
Yeah.
I've tattooed a couple of those, and it's just why you don't need that.
Yeah,
You don't
why
need
are we
that.
doing
It's like
this?
the eyeball stuff. It's
Why
like
am I doing this?
like just get that flower tattoo. Let's just do a dragon somewhere nice. Like
You ever like you're working on it and you're just questioning your life? You're like, why are we here right now?
yeah. I was just like, my whole life amounted to this. Like all my years of perfecting my art.
All my training has
all
led
my
up
training is
to me tattooing someone's testicles.
Yeah, this is me. Look, Mom, this is what I did today.
All my life has led up to this.
Yeah,
That's funny. So there's like, you won't say no, right?
Oh, I'll say no.
You will still say
I will say no. I definitely assert my boundaries when I feel something's right. And sometimes it's not about placing. It's about maybe the client's too young.
Ah, okay.
And, I feel, or when you do this long enough, you can see if someone's, not in the right state of mind. I'm not even talking about, alcohol or anything like that. If just someone's not ready.
Yeah.
I've had clients get so nervous, and then I've just been like, you know what, I don't think this is a good idea. And we talk it out of it, arrange it for another day, just let them process a little further.
Yeah.
Things like that. But I will say no, yes.
That's it. That's it for this longer video. I just wanted to answer your guys' questions, give you guys some like industry secrets with an actual tattoo artist, the best tattoo artist in all of Toronto. I'll link his like Instagram and stuff down below so that you guys can check out his work. Yeah, with that being said, if you guys like this video, like, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.